Hello, everybody. Welcome to Boomer's Talking Live. Our guest today is the author of self-help motivational books, a songwriter, insurance executive, and screenplay writer. He will tell this and more. Our guest in hot seat today is John Paul Carinci. Welcome, John Paul. How are you doing?
Carinci.
Sorry about that.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. How are you doing?
Very good, very good.
So, John, tell us about your journey on being an author and all this stuff. One of your books, Dying, Death, and Hagerstown. Tell us all about that and how you came to writing. What's the inspiration of doing this?
Okay, great. First of all, your music is great on this show. I like the music. You are very informative for your listeners, and you open their eyes with everything that you talk about. So that's great. I like that.
Well, thank you, sir.
Okay, let's go all the way back to 1977. I was a 21-year-old, wet behind the ears, life insurance agent for about 3 months, failing miserably, ready to be fired. And we had a little seminar, and we went to Pennsylvania to listen to a speaker, and his name was Reverend Bob Richards. And nobody seemed to know who Reverend Bob Richards was, even though he was on the Wheaties box in the 60s, I believe. He was Olympic champion with multiple medals from the Olympics. And here I am, 21 years old, in the audience, listening to this man. And he has the microphone, and he says, "Welcome, everyone." And he takes the microphone in this huge auditorium, puts it on the side, and he doesn't need it. His voice is booming through the entire audience. He was so motivational that at age 21, I got in line after the speech, and I said, I got to shake this man's hand. I get to the front of the line, and he says, "Hi, son, what do you do?" And I says, "Oh, I'm just an insurance salesman." He said, "Don't you ever say that again. Do you know how valuable you are to the people that you see? And with your signature, you can insure someone for $300,000. He says, "You are so important to that family's welfare." And he said, "I want you to do something. I want you to go home, and I want you to buy a book. And the book is called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, Napoleon Hill, W. Clement Stone. I want you to buy that book, and I want you to devour it." I said, "Sure, Mr. Richards." And I ran home, I bought the book, and I devoured it. And that was the beginning, the first day of the rest of my life. I was hooked on motivational, inspirational. I became an agent, sales manager, district manager, regional manager for this little tiny company called Chubb. And when they closed it, I opened up my own agency and had all of these agents writing for me. Because what did I do? I put blinders on. I made believe that little company was my own company. And 80% of the people that go into life insurance sales fail miserably. I succeeded tremendously because I had a different attitude, and I called it blinders, just like they put blinders on horses so they're not interrupted with the others. I heard the same negativity everyone else heard. It bounced off me. There's always been negativity in the world, and this book that they gave me, or that I purchased, was tremendous. And one day I says, I would like to write my own self-help book. And P.S., I wrote 3 self-help books. The Power of Being Different, An All-Consuming Desire to Succeed, and Awesome Quotations and whatever. And that's 3 of my 14 writings. But the moral of the story is many, many years later, because I used to give that book to this Reverend Bob Richards told me to purchase. I used to buy it and give it out to presidents of insurance companies and very well-to-do people. I used to send this book out to them as Christmas presents. And one year I wanted to write how it affected my life, this book. And so I wrote up a little tiny article, and I included it with the book, but I needed to know what Olympic medals Bob Richards won. So I searched on the internet, and I found his website. And as an afterthought, I sent him a copy of the article. This is years later, after I had met him, and I was successful. And his wife calls me and says, John, I just want you to know, Bob receives a lot of mail, and yours is the most inspirational letter he's ever received. They're in Texas. He's going to be at the Waldorf Astoria doing the 50th anniversary of the Olympics. He wants you to be his guest. It's a black tie event. And so here I am, many years later, listening to Bob Richards speak again at the Waldorf Astoria with Walt Frazier, Dick Button, all the Olympic champions were there. And I said, wow. So when I wrote the first self-help book, The Power of Being Different, I released it after 9/11 happened, even though it was written years before. I sent it to Bob Richards. He says it's the most inspirational book he's read, one of the most inspirational books he's read. So that's the story of why did I ever even think of writing anything? I wanted to give back. I wanted to touch one life as he touched my life. I'm a little long-winded, but I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did, and it's a very amazing story. We do come across people that really change our lives, and your story is very unique.
Thank you. So
You're welcome.
my philosophy in my 3 self-help books is basically put on blinders and self-suggestion statements or affirmations. We have to beat down the negativity around us, and basically by convincing ourselves that we can do something and we want to do something and we want to be different. And that's the title of my first book, The Power of Being Different. Because we're all in line here. We have 1 million people in line, and all of a sudden, the race begins. And how do we expect to be in the lead? There's a funny story of follow the follower. In Turkey, many years ago, there were 1,500 sheep that leaped off the top of a mountain to their ultimate death because the first sheep leaped off the mountain. Now, that's not really funny that 1,500 jumped off a mountain. What was funny is only 450 died because all the others kept landing on top of the other sheep, and it was almost like a cushion. But the point of the matter is, stop following the follower. Be the leader.
Yes, indeed. We in society when everybody's trying to be influencers but not influence everyone else. We in a society where everybody's trying to be a follower, basically, and copy of everybody else. It's kind of sad, though.
Here's another funny story. Many years ago, I don't know, because your listeners may be young, there was a very famous show on TV called Cheers. It took place in Boston, I believe. And there were auditions for the show. And John Ratzenberger was on the show, but he was auditioning. And he was just auditioning as a regular part. And they says, well, John, thank you, but we can't use you. And this fellow wasn't doing very well. He was kind of poor. And he says, I'm not leaving. His mindset was, he said, no, I'm not leaving. And he came up brilliantly, and he says, do you guys have a know-it-all at your bar? And he says, what are you talking about? A know-it-all, he says. You know, every bar's got a know-it-all. Let me show you. He started arranging the chairs in this audition room, and he showed them how he would be a know-it-all at the bar. And they says, you know, that's pretty clever. We'll use you for maybe an episode or 2 episodes. In reality, they used him for 11 years. John Ratzenberger did not accept no for an answer. So see, there's the difference. And we talk about inventors in my self-help books, and how an inventor is so different, and how they will not accept failure. And failure to them is like us being stopped at a red light. They just accept it along the way, and they just continue because their eyes are on the finish line. And that's what actually authors do. The author is always looking at the finish line. It may take 5 years to write that book, but he's not stopping until it's done. He's consumed with writing that book. He thinks about it in the morning. He thinks about it at night. Every second, if he's in the doctor's office, he's writing on a scrap of paper, and that's called burning desire.
Wow.
We can develop that. We each have that burning desire for different things. It's just whether or not we want to act upon it more often. But we are each very special if we only realize that.
Yeah, for those that don't know who John Ratzenberger is, he's the guy who played the postal worker right next to George Wendt.
Yeah. And if he would have accepted failure, he would have walked off the set. He would have went to his own bar and had a drink and said, "They don't want me," but he would not accept that. See, that's the difference between certain people. Certain people say, no, I'm not stopping. And that's the difference. And the same with the people that run the New York City Marathon, 26.2 miles. They have their eyes set on the finish line, and whether they have to walk or crawl or whatever, they're not stopping. They're going to get to the finish line.
Yes, indeed. One of my goals is basically to do the marathon. When my friends did the marathon, I said, like, why do you want to do a marathon for? It's like, well, because I never did it before. Why not? And he ran the whole marathon. He didn't train anything else. He ran the whole marathon, and it's kind of very frustrating because very fascinating because we all do make decisions, but we stuck at these decisions, and we're looking for a better result for those decisions.
What do you think went through his mind when he finished that race? That was the biggest celebration in his mind.
Yes, he was happy. He didn't finish it, but he finished it. But it was the happiest thing he ever had done. I was like, wow.
Yeah, see, there you go. We all have this. We all have this drive in us. I call it positive visualization. Picture a guy in his garage, and it's a little dark in the garage, and he stubs his toe on the crap that he's got hanging around his garage, like I have in my garage, and he stubs his toe really, really bad. And he says, That's it. That is it. Saturday, I'm going to be cleaning this garage. And he starts early in the morning, works till late at night, and the garage is impeccable. Why? Because he put it in his mind. He says, that's it. So what we have to do in life is say, that's it. No one's going to affect me. The guy on the left's not going to affect me with his talk. This one's not going to, you can't do this, you can't do that, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. No, I'm going to do it. And they do it. Positive visualization.
Yes, indeed. speaking of positive visualization, your Better Off Dead series. I heard that you were trying to make it to a movie, correct? And how did
we had almost all of my fiction works are scripts, because somebody told me once, we want your script to be written, but I don't. I want a script writer to write it. And I says, well, why can't I write it? And so they said, oh no, you can't. We want this guy to write. So what I did is I proceeded to teach myself how to write movie scripts, and now I write them myself. Again, positive visualization. All right, so let's talk about, you want to talk about Defying Death in Hagerstown. These are the fiction works. Defying Death in Hagerstown was not planned to be written. What happened is I won a diary on eBay. The diary was 365 pages long. It was written by a woman, and in 1923, and I won it. I bid on it because I like history. I don't even know why I won it. I get this diary, and I'm flipping through 365 pages of 1923, and the name in it was Lolita. The woman's name was Lolita, and you'll like this because you're in Maryland. It was written in Hagerstown, Maryland. The woman was from. So now I got this old diary, and I says, what idiot would put this diary on eBay? This woman's whole year of her life, and her name is Lolita, and that's all I could find. And again, I had no intention of writing a book. It took me 2 years to research who this woman Lolita was in Hagerstown, Maryland. I made friends with people there. I tried to locate relatives. I called this woman out of the blue, and she says months later, she says, I was going to hang up on you because when you called me out of the blue from New York, I thought you were a pervert. I says, no. She says, there's something about your voice that I had to keep listening to you. And indirectly, she was like a distant cousin. It took me 2 years to find out who this Lolita was, whatever happened to her. And from 1923 and when she passed away and so forth. And only then did I write a book called Defying Death in Hagerstown about a young reporter whose job is to go out and interview a 110-year-old woman in a nursing home in Hagerstown named Lolita. And on the way, he's at the end of his rope. He's drinking too much. His fiancée left him for a doctor. He's ready to quit. He's ready to be fired. This is a last-ditch assignment, is to interview this old woman who he thought was senile. And he's on his way over there. He finds out that there's a triple homicide from 1923, unsolved. And this woman has a diary and was friends with the woman that got killed. Now he's saying there's a much bigger story here. I can go and try and solve this murder, this triple homicide, and I'll be a hero. And by the time he gets there and starts questioning people, all of a sudden bullets start flying. Somebody wants this story to die right there. And I can't go into it any more than that, except this woman who he thought was senile is the most motivational, inspirational, philosophical woman around in the nursing home. It's a very good book, and we wrote a movie for it. So that one is doing very well. And then we have a brand new book called The Two Lives of Everett Quinn, about a homeless man and a young boy with no father that befriends this homeless man in a park. And the young boy is very troubled and going down the wrong path. He befriends this very, very knowledgeable homeless man. And there's more that meets the eye with a homeless man. We all think that they're not smart, they don't have money or whatever. There's something going on with this man. He has a second foreign voice that comes out of him at given times. And he is very philosophical for this young boy, and there's a really inspirational message in the book. That's called The Two Lives of Everett Quinn.
Wow. How do you find the ideas for all these books? It is amazing that, the Hagerstown one, you say you got it from diary, you win a diary at Amazon, which is kind of weird, but you never know, like, who put diary in Amazon?
I never found out who put it on there, but I used it as inspiration. Again, I had no intention of writing a book. I was actually writing something about the lumberyard standing. I never finished it. I went right to that.
Oh, wow.
The book, when you're really motivated, the book actually writes itself.
Yes, indeed.
And then we have a brand new book called There's an Angel Inside of Me. That's brand new, just issued. And that's about a bad man, a very wealthy man who was not very nice on earth. But he was very wealthy, and he dies. And he goes to the hereafter, and he's told, I'm sorry, you can't get into heaven. You're going to be in limbo for the rest of your life. You can't go to heaven. And he's pleading. And all of a sudden, for the first time in his life, he's asking for things, pleading, give me a second chance. Give me a second chance. He is allowed a second chance, and he's allowed to go back to earth, but only with an angel inside of his head. And he's not told how long he has before he's going to be called back again. But this is his second chance. And the real message here is he's asked by God to interview 5 people, whoever he wants to, in the history of the world. 5 people. And think about that. What 5 people would you possibly interview? And he has to come up with this, and he's allowed to actually interview these people. And we have Mother Teresa, a saint called Saint Faustina, Thomas Edison, a soldier from Normandy Beach that died, and Adolf Hitler. And your job is to interview these people and find out what makes them tick and what made them make their decisions, and how you can help people with that before you're called back for your second chance, and we'll evaluate you. And that's called There's an Angel Inside of Me, and next year is the sequel to that. It's going to be out.
Wow.
So I don't know. Different things motivate me, and I turned that one into a movie script also.
Yes, and God willing, I hope it works out, because they sound like good books. I mean, it sounds like good books the way you're telling me. I mean, I'm very intrigued by your books. I'm very certain to see the Hagerstown one. It made me want to go visit there myself and see what's going on down there myself. There's some mysteries around. Here's a mystery around Maryland. You never know if that's true or not. And your book about that is very intriguing.
They're all inspiring. They're all very inspirational, inspiring. They're feel-good books that make you feel like, all right, I want to go do something now myself. And that's the very first message that I received when I was 21 years old as motivational. So, all right, I'm writing fiction, but how can I motivate people in a fiction book? So without preaching to you, it moves you.
Yes.
So that's what we try to do.
And you're doing a good job for us, man.
Thank you.
Welcome. You're a songwriter, correct?
That's another kind of funny story. Now again, you can't tell me I can't do something. Now
Yes.
I'm 14 years old, and my
Mhm.
next door neighbor plays a guitar, and he
Mhm.
writes songs, and
Mhm.
he's talented. So again, I'm 14 years old, and people says, well, you can't write a song because you can't play an instrument. And I says, but why can't I write a song? So what I do is I write the songs, I write the words, I sing out the entire melody, I send it off to somebody and tell them copy exactly what I've given you and add the music that I've sung out, and that's what I've done.
Mhm.
And I've got I got 16 of them online. If you look up John
Mhm.
Paul Carinci, songwriter, and
Mhm.
I can write a song in about 5 minutes, just out of the
Hmm.
top of my head. Yeah.
Did
But
they?
again, I was motivated. So you have to be
Mhm.
motivated. I was motivated. Why? I says, how come my neighbor can write a song? He can play a guitar. I am not that good with the guitar. I can't play it. So you know what I'll do? I'll skip the guitar and let me just go right to the song. And that's what I did.
Hmm. Hmm. Did you sell some of the songs to other artists?
No, but they're out there on the internet. People can download them. I'm not trying to make money off of them, really. I just enjoy writing. So
Hmm.
I
And the
probably
songs.
I probably have. I'm not exaggerating. I probably have 500 or 600 songs on tape that still need to be done in a demo studio.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at some of your songs. Tell me you love me. Is that one of the songs?
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I thank God. I thank the Lord. I have you. They all love songs, correct?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hmm.
What was another one? I'll tell you the story behind it.
Okay. When I dream. Tell me about
Okay.
that.
No. No. They're all written
Um.
for a reason, but there's one special one there. There's one written about
Hmm.
9/11.
Oh. 9/11
Uh,
World Trade Center song.
yeah, there's one there for 9/11. And I'm trying to find the one
Uh,
that I wrote for somebody. Okay, you are my
hmm.
world, my everything. You are my world, my
Yes.
everything. That
Mhm.
was written. I befriended a man in Memphis, and he was
Mhm.
a songwriter, and he was also a script writer, and his movie never went anywhere. But we were good friends, and one day he calls me up and says, "I'm dying of cancer. They found colon
Oh, wow.
cancer," and I was just touched by it. So I wrote a song from him to his wife, as if he's singing this to his wife, and it's about a man that's ultimately going to pass and what's going through his mind. And I sent it to him before he passed, and he loved the song. Yeah, so I mean, there's again, it's a motivation. What moves you?
Yes. Anything that inspiration comes to mind. You're basically the person that doesn't like the word no and basically put your mind to it, which is very fascinating.
Yeah, I just again, I'm writing book number 14 now, and
Mhm.
I am not going to stop. And it's actually about, even though I have one's called The Psychic Boy Detective, about a little
Mhm.
boy, a young boy who's actually psychic. Well,
Ah.
this woman is a psychic also,
Mhm.
English from England, and she's actually getting all of these messages and so forth. And there's a woman out there in England who is so phenomenal, a psychic. It would blow your mind. And I'm basically taking just some of what she does out there for people. It's so special how she's helping people, communicating with those who've passed and helping the people who are survivors here. And so I was inspired by this woman, and it's going to be a phenomenal book. That's going to be probably out late next year, called The Psychic Communicator.
How about You Better Off Dead? You got
Better Off Dead
in Paradise.
Better Off Dead is interesting because Better Off Dead revolves around a very young, now listen to this, a very young life insurance agent who's failing miserably in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Does it ring a bell? And he befriends a restaurant owner called Tony Von Gemi. And he's ready to be fired because he can't make any sales. And all of a sudden, he runs across this restaurant owner, Tony Von Gemi, who buys a health insurance policy. Then he buys $1 million life insurance policy. And the kid says to Tony Von Gemi, "Hey, Tony, if you like the work I do, can you give me some leads, some people maybe that I could talk to?" He says, "Son, you want some leads? You come back tomorrow. I'll have an envelope full of people for you to talk to." Kid goes back tomorrow, and he's thrilled. All of a sudden, he's starting to make a sale, and he's starting to, instead of getting fired, goes back. He gets a whole envelope full of people to talk to, and Tony says to him, "Just tell him Tony Von Gemi told you to call." He calls the people. They start buying life insurance policies one after the other. Once he mentions Tony Von Gemi's name, but little does he know that Tony Von Gemi is a mafia kingpin. And all of a sudden, these people, months and months later, start dying one after the other. The ones he wrote life insurance on. By the time the kid realizes it, that he's sucked in, he can't get out, and what's he going to do? He knows one day he's going to be better off dead. And that's and everyone loved that book because I took insurance and I weaved it into a story, and then we wrote the sequel to that called Better Off Dead in Paradise. And again, we got movie scripts. We got movies. That was the very first movie script, and that was the very first fiction book I wrote. And people love it.
Wow. I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I'll give you my money. I'm hooked. And
now, for your listeners, that like any of the inspirational stories I've told you, just search my name on YouTube, and there's many video. There was one TV video I gave an interview on, but there's many radio interviews on YouTube talking about all this inspiration and motivational stuff, and you will get hooked on the motivational stuff just by listening for free. That's on YouTube.
Yes, indeed. And if you want to talk to a guest, please feel free to ask, and don't be shy. Our number is 917-889-8825. Once again, that is 917-889-8825. And call in, press 1, and speak to us and our guests. John, I noticed you got a movie production company as well.
Right. That's basically where I write the books and the movies through that company.
Okay. Why not? Why not? You can't.
We're looking for somebody to back us with a movie. Somebody that falls in love with the story and says, this is a phenomenal story because there's so much junk out there. Let me put one of these in the film. And that's what we're looking for. Right now, Hollywood is looking at Defying Death in Hagerstown. We have movie producers that they're actually pushing it. They're just looking for the money now. Yeah, but you know what? It's a tough business.
Yes, yes, indeed. And speaking of your production in your movies, who you want to star in your movies? Who you looking to star in?
It's changed so many times that it's basically whoever's hot now. I mean, we've got you can have Oprah Winfrey actually be the old lady in Defying Death in Hagerstown. Cicely, what's her name? Cicely Tyson, is it?
Cicely Tyson. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different people that could act that role out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
so if Oprah's listening, is she one of your listeners?
I hope so. Well, she's in Baltimore favorite. I heard sometimes she comes in and out of Baltimore, but she's in Maryland somewhere. Sometimes she comes in and out of Maryland somewhere. And me speaking of old friends, because her past was she was a news anchor in Channel 13 long time ago.
Yes.
So, and she still got friends in Hagerstown somehow. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, you know what? We have her featured in one of the self-help books too. We talk about the self-help books. What they do is they talk about people who have become successful, where they came from, and why they are successful. We look at inventors, we look at successful athletes, and so forth. I mean, Michael Jordan was terrible in basketball as a high school player. Yeah, I mean, you look at people who how many times a baseball player may strike out before all of a sudden he hits. Things like that. Nobody is just born successful. We're born with the right mindset. What happens to us as we're raised is that mindset is pushed around and smashed upon, and we accept sometimes the negativity, and we get off the success route.
Yes, and you're almost out of time, but please, for listeners at home, tell us your principles, your awesome principles of success.
That awesome success principles is basically the best quotations you will ever come upon are in that book. And then we talk about different aspects of being successful. I talked about self-suggestion statements. We want to stop smoking. So what do? We tell ourselves, stop smoking, stop smoking, stop smoking. Why? I have to stop smoking because I've got 2 children home. They're young. They're impressionable. I don't want them to lose their father. I've got to stop smoking. Stop smoking. All of a sudden, after 20 days, you can actually kick that habit. See, a habit is formed in 20 days. A good habit is formed in 20 days. A bad habit is formed in 20 days. So I'm just going to read to you real quick a self-suggestion statement that I've been saying to myself every day for the last, I'm going to say 40 years. I feel healthy. I feel happy. I feel terrific. I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. I will be successful. It's inevitable because my aggressiveness will equal opportunities for my success. I can, I will, I want to. All things are possible through belief in myself and the Lord, and with His help, I can accomplish anything. I feel great. I feel wonderful. I've got the world by the tail. If I start acting enthusiastic, I'll become enthusiastic. If I act positive, I'll become positive. If I start acting happy, I will become happy. It's amazing, but when I act enthusiastic, others around me become enthusiastic. And this goes on for about 3 minutes more. It has not changed. One word has not changed in the last 40 years. I say to myself every single day, I say that self-suggestion statement. Because what do I have to do? I have to raise the blinders up. I've got to keep those negativities off of me. The only way to be successful.
There's only one remedy to keep people off you. Change your lifestyle, not you too as well.
You see, I hear the same negativity everyone else hears, but it kind of bounces off of me. Because I cannot allow it to affect me. I have to. I'm consumed with a goal, and I have to keep that goal in mind.
Yes, indeed. Looks like we're out of time for today. I want to have you talk about everything on your amazing books and your amazing journey, inspiration. But real quick, tell people at home, where can we find you?
www.johnpaulbooks.com.
I'm
on Facebook. Yep, Facebook. I put a lot of inspirational messages out on Facebook. John Paul Carinci on Facebook. And I just keep writing. In fact, if somebody in your audience, the first person that sends me an email, I will send out a signed copy of the book of their choice. If they can go to my website and click the link to email me, I will send them a book for free.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. I hope everybody's listening. Shit, I might do that myself.
Remember, it's got to be the first person.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
I
thank you for having me on, and you're doing great. You just keep the good work up because you're touching a lot of people.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. And you too. And if you have anything else, please come by and don't be a stranger.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Good night. Wow. That is John Paul Carinci. Wow. That's a very amazing, touching story. I hope everybody is motivated and pumped. Hear those messages and those slight, juicy tidbits of keys that he's giving everybody. Never give up and always reach for your dreams. Anything is possible. We will take a quick break. Let me see if Dr. Q is still up because somebody was snoring. Dr. Q, you okay? We will take a quick break, and we'll be back with Celebrity Gossip. Dr. Q got Celebrity Gossip, so do I. This is Baltimore Talking Live. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to Baltimore Talking Live. I'm your host, Dr. Q. Co-host is me, Aaron Green, and we're back with Celebrity Gossip. I know that the Q got Celebrity Gossip. I have Celebrity Gossip that I saw on Twitter, and I'm laughing my head off, but this is true somehow. Ray J, Suge Knight, Death Row Suge Knight, is handing his rights over to Ray J. Ray J means Brandy's little brother, Ray J. I'm very shocked about this. Ray J, why he's giving all his rights to Ray J, and I'm hearing Ray J is going to make, if he give all his rights away to Ray J, he's going to make a TV movie on about Suge Knight. I'm hearing the Death Row television movie that everybody's talking about that's come to fruition, and also other stuff. That means he has the keys to Death Row. He has everything of Suge Knight's property, and which is weird because Suge Knight has kids. He has a son. He's doing real estate right now, and I think he has another daughter. I think it's a daughter. I think. But why he's giving his rights to a person who basically F's it up, I'm sure everybody scratching their head and giving the side eye and having their minds blown with this. But I'm very intrigued to see how it always pans out, because it's very shocking to me. Another celebrity gossip news. Today, Dennis Quaid is marrying, engaged to a 25-year-old girl, and people got all the rage about it. A trip to Hawaii. She looks like Barbie, and that's all my celebrity gossip for today. But I'm going to tell you what's new in Baltimore. And if you're wondering, Dr. Q is probably knocked out asleep right now. As you hear from us talking to our guest, he's knocked out. So I'm going to give you what's new in Baltimore. For what's new in Baltimore, coming up in October, it's going to be the end of October very soon. We have Paw Patrol coming to Hippodrome at October 26th. Also, at October 26th is the Four Tops at Model Lyric on October 26th. Dean Cole, you probably know him from Blackish, and also he's the comedy writer for I'm gonna tip my tongue. I don't know what time it is. He's coming to the Baltimore Comedy Factory on October 25th. Rise Against is coming to Ramshead Live on October 25th. Asia, Robin Thicke, and Tank in Barfly are coming to the UMBC Event Center on November 1st. Brett Kaiser Body Shots Tour is coming to the Mall Del Lyric on October 25th. And one thing, Shogun Fights is coming to Royal Farms Arena on November 2nd. Shogun Fights is very, very good. I want to go there myself. I went to what's it called? Baltimore Comic Con yesterday. It was a short time visit because Sunday's always, cruising time and everybody's packing up and everything else. I have fun I took my 3-year-old son and his god brother, who is 1 year old, over there. They have a nice time over there too. I think the 1 year old's first time, and my 3-year-old is his second time there because when he was born, like a couple weeks prior, he wasn't Comic-Con because I got tickets and my wife wanted to go last year. So this year I had to bring those two in, and they have fun. He got scared because of people in costumes, but they were okay. And for tomorrow's show, I hope they had his schedule on there. No, they not. Tomorrow they didn't update it. Tomorrow's show. I'm sorry about that. Well, will you have your birthday announcements? And a guest and what's new in Baltimore and everything else, but more of that tasty goodness will be in bmoretalk.org. That's bmoretalk.org. You'll find the homepage of Baltimore's Talking Live. You'll catch our episodes, past episodes, on demand. You'll catch our bios, what's all about us, and our show, what's coming in and what's coming out. Everything happens at Baltimore's Talking Live, where we unscripted, unrehearsed, real people, real talk. We for every weekday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. And also, please feel free to call us. Don't be shy. Our number is 917-889-8825. Once again, that's 917-889-8825. We are Baltimore's Talking Live, where we unscripted, unrehearsed, real people, real talk. I know we are supposed to go somewhere on October, which I'm very excited to see everybody in the movie theater. I think it was Security, Square Mall, which I didn't. Security Square Mall movie theaters, which I didn't been there in such a long time. And we'll be there, I think, October 28th, I'm not mistaken. The Q will be there with his Stubbs card, and I'll be there and meeting everybody, and seeing who listens to the show. It's a pleasure to. It's always a thing to me to watch, see people come in and listen to the show, and we would do autographs over there, and we would talk to other people there too, and it's very nice to meet some of the people over there. And we give our cards, and we're going to give autographs and pictures too. If y'all welcome to give pictures to both of us, you can. It's going to be a nice time over there. But it's going to be October, this month, October, I think the 28th, I believe. I'm not sure about that. Dr. Q, I got all the details on his thing. I know he's knocked out right now, so I'm going to tell you my final thoughts today and what I learned from today. If Dr. Q is not going to be up for the moment, I know we hear him snoring. He will be up until I sign off. But what I learned from today, thank you for our guest, John Paul Carinci, for coming in and sharing his keys of wisdom and knowledge, and the thing of anything's possible. I'm never tell you to do anything else you want to do. I know that a lot of people some people are in a changing world that we all live in. Some people are stuck and don't know how to get out of things they don't want, whether it's a job they hate or, a new or old love interests, or just people that in general that are bad for you. It's your time to make up your mind and to be free. It's your time in your mind to know when to change, know when to say enough's enough. I want to get out. It's your time to know in your mind where you want to learn to be better, be more knowledgeable, to be more charismatic and thoughtful and wise. It's your time to free all the negativity that has been burdening you for years, and self-regret and self-loss of what you have. It's your time. It might not be today. It might not be tomorrow. It may be this year or next year. But it's your time to be free. And your time to be what you want to be. Because you are the person that controls your mind. You are the person that controls your fate. Not everyone else around it. And that's my final thoughts. Be sure to join us every weekday. Tomorrow for Baltimore Talking Live. My notes, they update the page today. So I can't tell you what's gonna be on, but that's the magic of it, because we are unscripted, unrehearsed, real people, real talk. And as for Dr. Q, who's taking a nap, and I'll probably call him in a couple minutes. This is Dr. Q. This is Aaron Green saying God loves you, and so do I. This is Baltimore Talking Live. Good night, and take care of each other.